Hey guys, hopefully everyone is doing well. Today's target is to solve question number 5.10. The chapter is cost profit volume analysis. We have already done 9 questions of this exercise and you are well familiar with the format, well familiar with the terms, and we will quickly see the terms which will be used in this question as well. As you have seen, we have started contribution margin, and you know that how to calculate your contribution margin. Then you will subtract your variable cost from sales. In this way you can calculate your contribution margin. In the similar way, if you want to calculate your contribution margin but per unit, how would you calculate it? Same formula you will be using which was used over here, contribution margin. Here we are also using sale and variable cost, but since contribution margin is per unit, so you will use this per unit for sales and per unit for variable cost. In this way, you will calculate your contribution margin. And then you have seen your contribution margin ratio. And how do you calculate this ratio? If you will take your contribution margin and it would be divided by its sales, so you will get your contribution margin ratio. When you will not multiply it with 100, you can write times, and when you will multiply it with 100, you can write it in terms of percentage. Remaining points are very important to understand is break even point, a point where your cost is equal to revenue. So initially you can write a stage where your revenues are equal to your cost. So this way your break even will be calculated, and we have two different types of break even points as well. If you are calculating your break even point according to units, so how would you calculate? Fixed cost will be divided by CM per unit, and CM per unit is what? Per unit CM, or CM per unit contribution margin per unit, and here you have calculated it contribution margin per unit. So you will take per unit sale, will subtract per unit cost from it, and you will get CM per unit. This same CM per unit would be put over here. The third point would be break even point in terms of sales. So break even point but in terms of dollar or sales. And how do you calculate? Fixed cost will be divided by CM ratio. CM ratio has also been calculated. You can see over here, contribution margin ratio, contribution margin divided by sales. Now why we have discussed it again, and perhaps you will feel that we are continuously discussing these points, because these 6-7 points are the backbone of understanding cost profit volume analysis. As you can see, your first requirement is overall contribution margin, and ratio has been asked to calculate, and you can see contribution margin ratio we have already discussed over here. So let's find out our requirement. Compute overall contribution margin. As we have already discussed, contribution margin ratio would be calculated when you will take contribution margin and will divide it by sales. And I have told you, if you will multiply this statement by 100, you will get your answer in percentage, and if you are not multiplying it by 100, you will get answer in times contribution margin. Okay, so come over here, we have two products. Here it has been discussed that company has two computer games. In previous question it was said that there is only one product, but now they are selling two different products, Predator and Runway. These are a sort of games, and name of games are given over here, Runway and Predator. Alright, So we have sale number 1 and sale number 2, and collectively total sale is also present over here. What requirement is saying to calculate overall contribution. So we are not related with game number 1, we are not related with game number 2, we are related with total. Why? Because our requirement is to calculate contribution margin overall. So here we have the statement overall. We will use amounts present over here. Now contribution margin on third line is written, that is 1,20,000. We will come over here and we'll write 1,20,000 and follow the formula. You need to divide it by sales. So divided by sales, how much sales we have? 1,50,000. Put over here 1,50,000 and that's all. If you will calculate like this, it means your answer would be in terms of times. So write it on your calculator 120,000 and it would be divided by 150,000. So this way your answer has arrived in terms of times. Now you will also be able to calculate this answer in terms of percentage. Simply you will take this answer and will multiply it by 100. So here your answer would be in terms of percentage. Alright, and answer has been written over here 80%. The next requirement is compute overall break-even point in terms of sales. The formula we have already discussed. So here we will be doing our second requirement. We need to calculate break-even point, but in terms of dollar or amount. How do you calculate it? You need to have fixed cost and you will divide CM ratio or contribution margin ratio. So as usual, I have said you there are two ways to write contribution margin ratio. First way to write it in terms of times. Second way to write is in percentage. Usually whenever you will use this CM ratio in break-even point, you will always be using it in terms of time, not in terms of percentage. Okay. So fixed cost over here, overall fixed cost is 90,000. Put 90,000 and you are following the above formula. Fixed cost is going to be divided by CM ratio. Ratio which we have calculated is 0.8 in terms of times. So this would be calculated. Put 90,000 over here and that would be divided by 0.8 over here. So in this way your break even point has also been calculated. Look at the answer 112500 112500. So we have got our second answer. First answer was calculated over here and in percentage you can write in this way as well. Let's go to our third requirement, verify the overall break even point. Now we are asked to verify it. What exactly break even point is? You can see over here we have decided where revenue is equal to cost. Now if you will use this sales 112500, how much your net income should be? You can keep your eye over here. If revenue becomes equal to cost, how much profit you will earn? That means the cost of product was 10 and you have sold it for rupees 10. As it has been mentioned, revenue should be equal to cost. So you have bought a product for rupees 10 and you have sold same product for rupees 10. How much profit you will gain? Some of you will answer correctly that there is no profit. So break even is the point where there is no profit, no loss. Revenue will be equal to cost. So now he wants us to verify it that this break even point is the correct one. So how you would verify it? Because when you will use this sales over here, how much your net margin would be? As we have discussed over here, revenue should be equal to cost. Your revenue must be zero over here. So break even point is the point where your revenues are nothing. You are not earning anything. So if you will put this 112500 in place of sales over here, you will get your zero revenue with which you will verify in third point. So let's start our verification. At third point, we will make new contribution margin income statement, and for that the first part is to write sales, then you will subtract your variable cost. Over here you will get your contribution margin, and then you will subtract fixed cost, with which you will get your net margin. Okay, now verification would be successful if your net margin becomes zero. Let's put our sales. This is your break even point in terms of sales, 1,12,500. We are putting the same amount, 1,12,500 over here. Now variable cost. I have told you a desi formula to calculate variable cost. For that, what you will do, old variable cost, it would be divided by old sales, and when you will get its answer, old variable cost divided by sales. After getting this answer, you will multiply it with new sales. Alright, here we have our question where old sales and old variable cost is mentioned. You can see over here variable expenses are 30,000, old sale was 150,000. So you are open to write here variable cost 30,000, and it would be divided by old sales, which is 150,000. Since both elements present over here, they are old sales, old variable expenses, old contribution margin, old fixed expenses, whichever is given in the question. So old sale is 150,000. You can put 150,000 over here. Put brackets whenever you are calculating it. Use your brackets to understand it well. So 30,000 would be divided by 150,000, and it would be multiplied by new sale. Here are new break-even sales, 1,12,500 is present. Now put this statement on calculator. 30,000 would be divided by 150,000. Alright, and then you will divide it by 1,112,500. In this way you have got your answer, and this is coming in different way. Okay, so it was needed to be multiplied. So you have got your answer 22,500. It is what your variable cost. To calculate new variable cost, you will apply following formula. I'm again telling you, it's not a genuine formula. It would not be present in any book. This desi formula just was created to let you understand how to calculate our new variable cost. So we have our variable cost 22,500. I'm again informing you that we are making this statement just to verify that this break even sale is the correct one. And how it would be proved, when you will put this sales in new income statement, your net margin should be equal to 0, and we are proving it. Okay, how to calculate your contribution margin? You will take sales and will subtract your variable cost. Here you have got your contribution margin, and then you had your fixed cost, that is 90,000 is given. As you know, if you are selling 2 units or you are selling 2,000 units, your fixed expense would always be fixed. So we have 90,000 fixed. When you were selling 150,000, it would be same 90,000 when you will be selling 1,12,000. So put 90,000 over here. And finally, you will be calculating your net margin by subtracting fixed cost from contribution margin. Contribution margin was 90,000 and your fixed cost is also 90,000. So here you have got your net margin, which is 0. So you have proved it that our break-even sale is correct, at which your profit and losses will become 0, where you will not be able to get any of your profit. We have proved by making a income statement over here. So that was all about this question. Three requirements were required to be completed. First was CM ratio 80%. We have calculated over here CM ratio 80%. And then we were responsible to calculate break even point. So break even point was also calculated. Answer was matched. And then we were asked to verify. Verification answer is not available, but keep it in mind whenever you are verifying your break even, answer would always be equal to 0. So here we have proved it. Our break-even sales were 1,12,500. When we have put it in an income statement, we have got answer as 0. So that means 5.10 is 100% completed. All three requirements completed. Answers were matched. So that's all for 5.10. We will surely be meeting to solve any other solution in the future, inshallah. Up till then, please make your practice well. Repeat this question 4-5 times. Though it's very short question, but repeat it 4 to 5 times. Understand it well. If you feel any difficulty, you can text, you can message, or you can directly meet for your queries. I will surely try to answer them instantly. For the time being, that's end for our today's lecture. It's time to say goodbye. Thank you very much for your time. Allah Hafiz.